This is just information that is interesting to be aware of. I consider it very valuable. Uh, there is what used to be in ancient Greek mythology, the underworld, and the upper world. The underworld was Hades, was considered a dark god, who was the god of the underworld. So when you died and went to hell, or the underworld was hell, meaning that long ago in the mythology, when Hades was your god of the underworld, and he basically got everybody that died in battle or on Earth. So if you weren't in the underworld, then you were alive. But there was a place in the underworld that you lived too, even as dead, and that's really complicated. But I want to talk about Elysium. So you think of hell as a bad place, right? Like AC/DC song, hell's not such a bad place to be. Well, ultimately, that's something to think about. Now, this is just my point, sharing information. Understand Elysium was a place in ancient Greek mythology that was in hell, or the underworld, and it was a place of no disease, no sickness. People didn't die of any kind of. They lived for a long, long time, hundreds of years. Kind of like in the old Bible days, 700-800 years old. Elysium was a place in hell. It was a place in hell. It was the heaven of hell, or it was a place reserved for all the people that went to hell that were actually considered, I guess, Hades' favorites. So Hades, the god of the underworld, had a place called Elysium, which was a place where if you went to hell, you can go to Elysium, and it was actually like a heaven. So there was no sickness, no disease. People lived hundreds of years. There was no homelessness. It was like structured. So basically, my point here is to understand that if you go to hell, well, if you go to Elysium in hell, well, it's like a heaven, and it's actually the place that you'd want to live. So the point here being, Elysium, look it up. It is a divine heaven of hell, meaning that just because you go to hell doesn't mean you're going to be burning in cinders and tortured. That there's only a small part of hell that's actually reserved to punish people on that level. The rest of it's called the underworld, and incorporating a place called Elysium, which is actually quite like a heaven. It's a place where people want to go, even from the upper world. I believe Hermes was the only god that was allowed to go into the underworld, and we're going to talk about Hermes next.